Welcome back,
What's poppin'? It's your boys
Jake.
and Jeremy back in the house for another edition of
Beren,
Boys
Bekius.
Beren Boys Bekius. Now,
We're-
yes, we know what you're thinking. Why aren't you guys together? Why aren't you wearing masks? Where is your iconic background? Jake, you want to answer that question?
Well, I went out of town for a little bit, so I'm being a studious, good child
Good
and quarantined
Samaritan.
for a bit until I get back in the world. Don't worry, next week we'll be back together with the
Jake's
same
stuck in the
background
queue, so we're separate. We're virtual for this week.
this week.
But we're going to make it through regardless. This week is Parshat Chayei Sarah.
The life of Sarah.
Even though she dies. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, so Chayei Sarah, you know us. It's your boys. Let's get into it with the first Aliya. And this time, the Aliya connoisseur is not going to start us off. He's a little bit tired of Aliyahs, so I'm going to take it from here and start us off with the first Aliya.
Go for it.
In the first Aliyah of this week's Parsha, although it's Chayei Sarah, Sarah dies at the age of 127. Quite the long life, right? Abraham is grieving after the loss of his wife, and he goes to find a burial plot for his wife and encounters a man named Ephron, a sleazy, very crooked man who is from the Chayei nation who tries selling him his burial plot. Now, Abraham asks for it. Ephron offers it for free, but Abraham insists on paying the full price of 400 silver coins. He's getting offered it for free, but insists on paying. And we'll talk about that, the reason for that, later.
We will talk about that later. In the second Aliya, we have Abraham bury Sarah in that plot that he bought, Marat Machpelah. And then he subsequently orders his servant to go find a wife for his son Yitzchak. Now, Abraham has his servant swear that he's not going to take this wife from Canaan, and instead he's going to go to the land of Aram, where Abraham is from, and find Isaac a wife there.
Right.
Third Aliya, Jeremy Morgan.
Yes, so his servant Eliezer goes off on the camels and goes to Abraham's homeland and prays to God that he will be successful in his mission. He looks to God and asks for a sign that he will notice to pick the girl of choice for Yitzchak. Now, Yitzchak's wife needs to be a virtuous and righteous woman, right? So this is Eliezer's plan. He's going to go on his camels and ask one of the women at the well for a drink of water. Now, if they bring him water, that's great. They may be nice. But the true virtuous woman, the one that will be right for Yitzchak, is one who offers water not just to him, but to his camels. Now, Eliezer arrives and asks for water, and a woman gives him water and his camels water, and he knows that she is the one. And who is this girl? It is Abraham's great niece, Rivka.
Fourth Aliya, Rivka goes back to her family and tells her brother, Lavan, about this story. And Lavan invites Eliezer to come stay the night. Now, Eliezer tells Rivka's family about the whole purpose of the mission to find Yitzchak a wife and how great Rivka did in giving water to both him and the camels. And so they agree to send Rivka back with Eliezer to go marry Yitzchak.
Right. So they consent to the marriage, and they celebrate with Eliezer, and that the next morning, Eliezer takes Rivka back to Canaan. Now, they ride each other a little bit, they get married, fall in love, and Yitzchak has finally found his consolation in his wife for the loss of his mother.
Very interesting. In the sixth Aliya, Abraham remarries and fathers several more children. Before his death, though, he gifts all of these children just specific gifts and then sends them all away while giving the main portion of his inheritance to Yitzchak. Abraham then dies at the age of 175 and is buried by Yitzchak and Ishmael together, a nice moment of unity, in the cave of Marat Machpelah, beside his wife Sarah, the place that he actually bought.
Well, they must have been on like the keto diet or something, because Mans was living 120 years, 170 years.
Hundreds of years. is.
Dude, he must have had a crazy workout routine. I mean, God.
See, bro, imagine 173 like running up the mountain.
Desert games.
Seventh Aliya.
In the seventh Aliya, just to close out the Parsha, Yishmael's descendants are listed, and then Yishmael passes away at the age of 137, 10 years later than the wife of his father, Sarah.
Very interesting. All right, now that we have the Parsha breakdown, let's get into our next segment of the podcast. Sports update. Jeremy, take it away with the NFL news.
Okay, so this week in the NFL, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, 8-0, undefeated on the year, still rolling, still grinding, still have yet to put a mark in the lost column. Mm-hmm. Also in the NFL this past week, the New Orleans Saints picked apart the GOAT, Tom Brady. He was not looking too goaty that evening, got absolutely romped and destroyed by the Saints.
That was tough to watch. All right, in MLB news, we have the MLB season awards came out. Congrats to Freddie Freeman and Jose Abreu, who are the MVPs this year, and Trevor Bauer and Shane Bieber, who won the Cy Young Awards. Congrats.
Clap it up for those boys.
Yes, sir.
In other news, basketball, the Ivy League has just canceled all of their sports due to COVID-19. So no more Jeremy Lin, Zach Yosher moments this year. Those will not be happening. And basketball is officially starting December 22nd with the draft happening this Wednesday on the 18th. LaMelo Ball first pick.
Hopefully.
Who knows? Hey, now for next segment, the Daf Yomi topic of the week. This week, we are talking about tefillin. Now you may ask, Jake, Jeremy, what does tefillin have to do with eruvin, property laws? That question can be answered by my friend, Jake Taylor.
That's a fantastic question. Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Fantastic question. Well, the Gemara poses the following scenario. The scenario is you're taking a walk on Shabbos, taking a Shabbos walk. Well, a walk on Shabbos. Doesn't have to be a Shabbos walk.
Yeah, relax. No Shabbos walks in this.
No Shabbos walks. No Shabbos walks. And you see multiple pairs of tefillin on the ground in a field somewhere where there's no eruv.
Oh.
So your first instinct would be to tick them up and carry them into a holy place or somewhere that's not in the field. However, it's Shabbos, and you're not allowed to carry without an eruv. Question is, what do you do? What should you do? Answer, the Tanna Kama says that you should put on one pair of tefillin at a time and walk them over to a place that is holy.
However, Rabbi Eliezer hears that and is like, one pair at a time? Try me. Try two pairs at a time. If you find tefillin on the ground, I want you double wrapping those tefillin and walking those tefillin to some property where they can be put down. You better not be violating any property laws. If you can't do one pair at a time, two pairs at a time. Put in that work to not violate the Shabbos, baby.
Sure. Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Now let's get into the last segment of our Beren Boys Bekius podcast. I know you're sad to see us go.
Drum roll, please. The Dvar Torah.
We'll leave you with this. Jeremy Morgan, take it away.
Alrighty. So, I told you guys we would explain why Abraham paid in full for Ma'arat Machpelah. Now, we're going to talk about it. Okay? So, So Abraham is in a great deal of mental distress, right? He's just lost his wife, and he's now on his way to buy a kever for his wife, right? Obviously, at a point like this in your life, you're very vulnerable to deception and to someone taking advantage of you. Here comes Ephron to do just that, right? Ephron comes and plans on taking advantage of the vulnerable Abraham, saying, oh, take this land for free, right? But every gift comes with strings. Now, what's interesting is that some people regard this encounter as actually the last test of Abraham. It's commonly thought that Akira Yitzchak is the last test, but some people say that this test, having to go into the land of Ephraim and keep a level head, even at a time when he was under such vulnerability and distress, is the last test of Abraham. Right? So Abraham goes in, and what does he know? He knows that if he doesn't get the receipts for this land, there's going to be some trouble down the line. So Abraham, even when he's can't possibly think straight, goes into this land and demands that he pay in full price for the land that he wants to buy to bury his wife on.
This shows us the incredible character strength of Abraham, and it shows us that we have to be like him. We have to, in our times of distress, we have to keep a level head like he did, make smart decisions, and keep those receipts in order to not be taken advantage of.
Yes, sir. Keep track of what you do, and don't let people take advantage of you in times of distress, even when you're at your lowest. Keep a level head, because otherwise, down the line, you may fall into trouble. So learn from Abraham, like Jake said. Learn that even in tough times, keep that level head, keep your sanity, and make sure that you do all in your power to keep yourself from trouble down the line.
We know it's difficult, but we believe in you at the Beren Boys Bekius podcast. Thank you so much for watching.
So much Torah, so I mean, it should be easy at this point.
Of course.
And as always, until next time, peace.